Hey guys, JV here sharing the latest update patch 1.10 changes for Mass Effect Andromeda. These are live on all platforms as of July 31st of 2017. If you were looking for any changes to the single player, unfortunately this update is exclusive to multiplayer. Every single one only applies to this mode. Even still, it's a very small list of changes and what BioWare described as a small update themselves. If you'd like to check out the patch notes for yourselves, the link is in the description below. As always, if you like what I do here and want to see more, be sure to subscribe. The first change in update 1.10 is for veteran ranks, which was something added in a very recent update to multiplayer as well. It allows you to take your characters above rank 10. This extends from rank 11 all the way through rank 20. However, after update 1.10, veteran ranks of these characters will only drop after all characters of that rarity have been unlocked to rank 10. So what that means is there's a built-in progression to this unlock system. You have to make sure you've unlocked all, I believe it's 12 common characters, maybe 16 common characters before you can start unlocking veteran ranks for any of them. I remember fairly early on in Andromeda's multiplayer mode, there was a progression to how you were supposed to open up loot boxes because you wanted to get all of the common stuff first so you wouldn't pull it in your higher up loot boxes. And it feels like that kind of progression is being built into this, so they've definitely fixed these veteran ranks, and I've seen some people really like this change on the ME co-op subreddit. The next change is to the Naladen sniper rifle, which is a Helios Tech plasma weapon which causes an explosion on impact. And now that explosion deals damage when you're using cryo or incendiary ammo if those are equipped. So essentially this is just a fix. This is how things should have worked in the past, and now they will if you are using those different ammo types. Once again, very early on in multiplayer, I remember this weapon being super powerful along with the Ishirai and the Vanquisher, unless I'm mistaken. Super powerful sniper rifles. I really do like to snipe in this multiplayer mode, especially with one of the new characters like the Turian Scout is very good, and of course the Solarian Infiltrator has been really good since the beginning. With regards to other sniper rifles, the Naladen is ultra rare, we've seen, and it's also semi-automatic, so the damage is decent, but you get that back in the fire rate, and of course it's got that special area of effect damage. So if you're going to, use a booster, you're going to feel the effect of that after 1.10. The next change is to two mission modifiers, specifically the dwindling supplies and empty resupply modifiers. Unfortunately, those aren't active right now, so I can't show you on screen, but essentially what you're looking for is on the right side. When you're picking a mission, you're going to see the modifiers and their effects. Before 1.10, the dwindling supplies and empty resupply modifiers would not function correctly if a player left the game, so those would just not work, essentially just a bug. So after 1.10, those will work even if someone decides to leave your game for whatever reason. If you're unfamiliar with these modifiers, dwindling supplies means that the ammo crates around the map never replenish, so you risk running out of all of that during the mission. In contrast, the empty resupply modifier takes away all of the ammo crates but gives you a ton of ammo at the very beginning of the mission. The next change is to the Dawn shotgun, which was one of the shotguns I used very early on in the single player. It is a Helios plasma weapon as well, but it shoots one huge, very powerful projectile. As you can tell, I'm navigating to it, it's ultra rare, so definitely one of the more powerful shotguns in the multiplayer, and the change is that it now properly primes enemies. And I wasn't aware it was supposed to do that in the first place. It could be because it does generate magnetic fields, kind of an effect that you can expect from something like that, and it can also knock down enemies. I think the only downside to this weapon is the tiny clip size and the rate of fire, because if you do miss that one large projectile, it's not like a normal shotgun, it could miss. So in single player, I would definitely put the Seeking Plasma attachment on it. Unfortunately, we can't get that in multiplayer, but yes, the Dawn now primes enemies properly. The next listed change is a fixed issue for all of the variants that were added in a very recent patch. Once again, 3 different kinds of things that affect weapons in certain ways. So that's Bulwark, Siphon, and Concussive. Pistols and sniper rifles with these variants would prime enemies too slowly when using special ammo. Again, a very specific issue. You may not have run into it, but now that won't happen after this update. If you're unfamiliar with these variants, maybe you took a little break from multiplayer, this is what they do. So first off, Concussive causes weak points, basically headshots, to do explosions, which is a massive deal. And each of these modifiers has a backstory. So apparently Initiative scientists are the ones responsible for this upgrade. The next variant is Siphon, created by Angaran scientists experimenting with biotics for the first time, and this one is basically lifesteal. When you deal damage, you get health back, which I find to be very helpful in multiplayer. The next variant is Bulwark, which was accidentally discovered when creating shield generators apparently, and this one increases your damage resistance when you're near allies, people on your team. Definitely useful when you have to hack an object or go to a certain place and hold off for a little bit in a mission. The next two fixes involve the supply pack transmitter, which is a piece of equipment that was added recently. Actually, a lot of equipment was added in the last few months. It was something that wasn't in the game initially, and then they updated it with free patches. It's a rare piece of equipment that causes first aid, revive packs, and ammo packs to apply to teammates within 10 meters, so you can share them with your allies, and also the Cobra RPG's explosion radius is increased by 50%, useful for taking down those larger enemies. So definitely a fairly powerful piece of equipment like most of them. However, it would reduce your spare ammo if that empty resupply mission modifier was active that we talked about before. So if you run across that randomly, then it would cause that issue. No longer does that happen with update 1.10. Additionally, if you did have that equipment active, using a first aid consumable would actually heal your enemies. So obviously that 10-meter radius effect applied to enemies and not just your allies. So once again, after this update, that's no longer going to cause an issue, and supply pack transmitter should be even more powerful now that it's working correctly. The next issue is super strange and definitely nothing I've encountered before, but they fixed an issue that caused the screen to blink red or yellow when using Siphon and Bulwark weapons. The patch notes don't specify whether this was on one platform or all of them. I have to assume it was something across all of them because they did not specify. So if this did affect you on whatever platform you're playing the game on, then now it's fixed. You won't run into it again. The final fix for this update is a very small one, and it's just a display glitch. So if you had a rank 14 common character, if you happen to pull that, you've already hit that rank 10 with all of your common characters and started earning those veteran ranks, it will no longer display improperly as rank 15. So once again, rank 14 common characters will now display properly as rank 14. Unfortunately, I don't have any rank 14 common characters, so I can't show you guys exactly what's going on with that change on the screen, but it's good to see that that is fixed for everyone else. Overall, update 1.10 is a really small one, and if you were looking for anything of substance in single player, we just didn't get it. I know some people, part of the hashtag Save the Koreans crowd, were really crossing their fingers, hoping for something new from single player, but with all the news going on and the fact that this is strictly multiplayer, it's a little bit disappointing to see. However, every time I say that, I'm reminded by the passionate multiplayer community that, hey, they're still there, they're still getting updates, and so we'll have to monitor the situation with the, studio changes, what's going on with multiplayer going into the future. Personally, the big thing that would suck me back into Andromeda multiplayer is the addition of races from the original trilogy, right? The Koreans, I don't know, the Drell, something cool like that would make me think, hey, yeah, let's go back and check this out. We still have to ask ourselves who would actually make that content. Is it already made? And if it is, who would actually implement it and keep running the multiplayer server? So that's definitely a topic for another video. That's it for me, so turning it over to you guys, what do you want to see from multiplayer moving forward in the future? What kind of features, what kind of characters, races, whatever it may be, let me know what you're looking forward to in the comment section below. I wanted to close out today's video with a very sad farewell to Corey Gasper. He was a member of the BioWare team for over 9 years, a designer on Sonic Chronicles, Dragon Age Origins, Mass Effect 2 and 3, and most recently he worked on Anthem. Corey passed away over the last few days, and he left behind a child and his wife, and so there is a donation set up. I've left a link in the description below to support his son in the future. There's been an outpouring of support in the last 48 hours over Twitter. People like Casey Hudson, Aaron Flynn, other people that managed to work with this person, and all people say that he was an absolute pleasure to work with. And so I just want to say thank you so much for helping create some of my favorite games I've ever played.